This is my favorite story of the week. I've already covered on my solo news channel.
Yeah.
I love this story so much, and I'm happy to share it with everyone now. A 16-year-old pocketed $50,000 for her award-winning discovery in the brains of people who died by suicide. Now, I'm going to show a picture of her. Huge beaming smile, and she deserves it because she is. I think it's fair to say she's a genius, and what she's doing is just incredible.
So she is still in high school.
She's in high school.
Okay.
She's not even out of high school.
See, I was thinking she was one of the people who.
No, she's not even an early
16,
grad.
Yeah, I thought she was 16 and in college.
So she's phenomenal at certain things. Maybe she's not, and I don't know, but maybe she's terrible at grammar, or maybe
well, in certain schools,
or maybe
don't
she
like
doesn't care about math. Like maybe this is just her passion, and that she's super good at it. Or she could come from a school that doesn't really have a path to graduate early.
Right.
Absolutely, that's possible too.
Right.
What I love, though, is that, often in the scientific community, especially if you go back a long ways, women in particular, their work would tend to get stolen. Like work on space.
Oh, yeah.
We knew what stars were made of because of a woman's math and her figuring it out, that it was largely hydrogen being fused into helium.
Is that the NASA women?
So the Hidden Figures one is different, but This is a woman who was working on her own. She was a professor, and she was white. Like those Hidden Figures were black, and they were being hidden because they were black.
Right.
But it's the same crime, just to a different group of people, right? So she sent her work off to this male colleague of hers, and he published it. And even after it came out that she was the one that figured it all out, he got the credit, at least in the short term, right? We all know who she is now. I don't know her name, but I wouldn't know his name either. So it is criminal sometimes the way that women especially can be treated in the world of science. I love the fact this 16-year-old's out here breaking down walls. So
it is impressive since women's brains are smaller.
Wow.
Just kidding.
So this girl, she was donated brains from people who died by suicide by their next of kin. She also got some healthy brains donated by next of kins. And she did chemical analysis, looking for traces of anything that was present in one and wasn't in the other. You could think of it the same way we're studying CTE in the brains of retired NFL athletes.
Right.
And we're finding that, concussions cause this chemical to be prevalent in these brains, and then often they do die by suicide, or their mental health declines in other ways, maybe dementia, or you can think of a Muhammad Ali. We see different things crop up in these folks more often, and we're trying to figure out why. So what she did find was, and this is not going to be easy, cytokines, and those are things that create inflammation as part of your normal body's function, trying to fight off infections. But these cytokines, there's a specific inflammation that's affected with a specific protein in the brain known as claudin 5. Now, claudin 5 is usually found in the cells that make up your brain-blood barrier. If you don't know what that is, and I didn't until I read this article, and I still barely know, let's be honest.
I think basically your brain sits in a sac, and it kind
of does, but there's a semi-permeable membrane that is supposed to allow some things into the brain and not others. Well, some of these brains, particularly the ones who died by suicide, they're having higher peaks of this chemical, claudin 5. If this is the kind of thing that you could test while people are still alive, we could maybe get a head start on helping people out.
Hopefully they don't have to actually go into the brain to test it.
That's right. Yeah, CTE right now, we don't have a good way to test on a living person, but they're still working on that. This is another thing that we can work on and try to get better at. But I'm going to take a moment right now. Have you been affected by suicide in your life?
Yep.
Okay, I have too. I've had both a friend from the Navy. I've had people in my family. I have been affected by suicide.
Yep.
Whether it's the ideation or the actual act, and a deceased person. So if you have any sort of depression that would lead you to that place, we're going to post the number up here, but it's 988, and you don't have to call. You can actually text them. They'll just sit there and talk to you on text. They'll help you find resources. And honestly, I love this young girl, and I'm going to tell you her name in a minute because she does deserve to have her name spoken. I love this girl, but I think if you take anything out of this segment, it would be If you know anybody that's struggling, give them this number. If you're struggling, go ahead and text it. They may can help you.
It's an easy number.
Absolutely, 988. And again, it's going to be posted on our screen as people are watching. So this is a difficult name. Natasha Kulviwat, and I hope I'm saying it right because she deserves to have her name said right, but that's her name. She's doing this groundbreaking research into the brains of folks who died by suicide, and I think that it's important that we celebrate some of those, especially young geniuses we've got, because there are too many walks of life where we, I think, don't prioritize young kids' brains enough. But she is kind of incredible.
Speaking of brains, I'm glad it said that she goes to Columbia University, because I was kind of worried when they said she was donated brains.
Right.
If she was going to Harvard, I don't know if you remember last week, the article we talked about, the morgue that they have there has been selling body parts.
Right.
Yeah.
So this does seem to be all above board and done completely with the.
It's not garage science.
No, done with the knowledge and the cooperation of the next of kin, which is the best you could do for someone who's died by suicide, of course. But I would like to think that most of those folks who are dealing with such depression, if you could tell them that they could be studied, I think a lot of them would choose anyway to do that. If you could tell them that, look, this pain you're feeling, we might can help someone else in the future, I think they'd do it.
I think they're trying to pass a bill right now. If you want to donate your body to science, I think it's generally done when you go and get your driver's license. So you have to actively opt out now, or will.
I actually support it. That's going to be a controversial one, and I know that's one that I can't necessarily argue. If somebody told me that they don't like that idea, I don't have a good reason why they should.
Right, yeah. Some people want their body to be buried.
Part of it is obviously I am not religious. Religious folks, they may have customs or traditions that they want to follow. And that's why I wouldn't argue it. I don't have a good argument as to why they shouldn't continue with their family traditions. Yeah. If I ever missed part of the paperwork to donate myself to studying, I would be upset to know that my body just got wasted rotting in the ground as opposed to being used to study.
It depends too. I wish they could make it a little more selective. Like, I don't mind my body going to be donated for science and use it for whatever you want. But I do remember seeing an article about a young guy whose mom passed away and her body was donated to science. And he worked for years to try and figure out what his mom was used for. And when he finally found out his mom's body was used as a test dummy at an Army explosives test facility.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And so that is absolutely, A, not what she or the family signed up for.
Yeah.
And B, I think you could do that other ways. So I used to watch Mythbusters, and you remember what they used to use all the time? They would use pig carcasses.
Yep.
Because as far as the animal kingdom,
pretty close.
Having the same skin type and mostly the same organs, our bodies get affected by things like explosions very similarly to pigs. And so they would use pig carcasses because you're not having to take a human and put their body through that. I say human, a deceased human. I like the pig idea better than grabbing what was somebody's mom, dad, whatever.
I mean, if you could just make that a check, sure, like any science or just
right. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to find a different way to do that.